Manchester United need to get players out the door on the big wages, the big transfer fees that they paid for them. They need to get some of them out. Jadon Sancho is looking like he could be the first one to go, with Anthony following close behind. Talk to me a little bit about Sancho, where he might be off to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit like I said the other week, it's almost like a boot sale at Man United. And it's sort of like walking down the high street.
I'll give you I got £4.86 here. I've got £20 million in change.
You get two of them for that. Sancho is the one that makes me feel very sad. Like, you watched him as a kid, and the shock that people had when he went from Manchester City.
Just to clarify, you mean when he was a kid? There's no way you were watching him when you were a kid.
No, when he was a kid, yeah. I had a few less grey hairs. That's all I can say. But no, and you thought when he went from Manchester City to Germany, and then and then he comes back, you think, oh, there's such a player in there. The Euros games, and even a few games for Chelsea last year, there were flashes of where you think
flashes.
But I mean, look, that Chelsea turned down the 25 million option on signing him.
They paid 5 million not to take it up.
And that probably shows you where the valuation is at. Yeah. He would much rather go to Italy and Juventus than go to Turkey. So Martin Blackburn's covered this story for us. He hasn't played for Man United for 2 years since that fallout with Eric Ten Hag.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So look, I think Man United will be lucky to get near £20 million for him, to be quite frank. And
that's the problem, right? They want 25 million quid, which is sort of fine. You go, fair enough. He's only got a year left on his deal. That part of it doesn't sound too bad. Like you say, clearly a player in there. 3 goals, 5 assists in all competitions last season, but 135 grand a week wage demands, particularly
7 million a year. So as soon as you're talking those sums, you think, well, we're going to save 7 million by just getting his wages off the book. So if we can add 10 or 15 million to the kitty by him going, and also it solves a problem for the manager, doesn't it? So,
but Juve, what's the only chance that they've got of actually paying any sort of transfer fee?
I think Juve have probably got to offload a couple of players, and Dusan Vlahovic is one who Premier League teams have looked at a lot. So there's a valuation on him, and but again, Sancho's not a replacement for Vlahovic; it's a different position. But I think the Jadon Sancho agency are working extremely hard at the moment, and with the pushing of Manchester United, and then as we say, Anthony's the other one where we think Real Betis is the option, and United are in discussions there over whether that will be a transfer or another loan like it was last year, and their march to the Conference League final with Anthony. And look, again, I think United will be thinking, as long as we can get those 200 grand a week wages off the books and not be making a loss on him, then they're all right.
Well, that's the thing. 2 years left on his deal. But Real Betis, they're sort of buoyed at the moment, because the feeling seems to be that there's been no other interested parties in Anthony, which is somewhat of a surprise given how well he took to the Spanish league with Betis last season after leaving United. But if he does go there, it's likely to be a loan, because they just haven't got the money.
No, and then of course they've got to try and get rid of Marcus Rashford as well.
Exactly, and Alejandro Garnacho, and Rasmus Højlund.
Take your ticket and go to the collection point, please.
Right, Dino, we'll run through the 3 deals to watch out for this week. Obviously, all of these are covered in Football Confidential in every day of the Sun newspaper, in the back pages over the transfer window. Just talk to me first, Dino, very quickly about Jordan Henderson. We'll do one each.
Yeah, don't forget the transfer blog as well, which is online. So
Some Football website,
and you can follow Jordan Henderson. 35 now, Jordan Henderson. He looks good for it, doesn't he?
Does look good. I'm 33.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Fair, I think.
Fair. Hands are a bit deeper.
But I reckon he spends a bit more time on a beach than you do. But,
and in the gym, and somewhat better at football.
Obviously went to Ajax from Al Ettifaq, because it didn't work out for him in Saudi Arabia. Nope. But look, would be a nice romantic story if Sunderland's big spending spree ends with a Jordan Henderson return up there as well, wouldn't it? It'd be a nice way to go. Because the other one that Sunderland, we should mention as well, are taking is Adingra as well from Brighton. Yeah. So they're spending some money, Sunderland. So I think that it's 18 million quid up front to a 20 million deal for Adingra. They're taking their spending through about the 100 million mark, and who better than Jordan Henderson to sort of marshal the troops back in the Premier League?
Very brief answer though. Is obviously he's definitely almost certainly going to come back to England in order to try and force his way into one more World Cup squad next summer. Is moving to Sunderland a good idea from that front? I know they're spending. Fair to say they're probably still going to struggle. Would that be enough?
Yes.
Playing in the bottom half of the
because he'll play every game.
Yeah.
Or as the vast majority of games in midfield, and that'll be enough for Thomas Tuchel to take his assistant coach Jordan Henderson to the World Cup with him.
Yeah, quite. James McAtee, Dino, Atalanta, who we were just talking about, with Ademola Lookman, of course, looking at the England under-21 captain. But Manchester City, noises coming out of the City camp this morning, rubbishing reports that he was available for just £20 million. That would seem an enormous bargain for a young man showing so much promise, although 22, perhaps a little bit older than people may think. But yeah, I mean, you feel that there's a move away from City.
I said before the Club World Cup that I thought that it was fairly obvious that he wasn't part of Man City's first team plans, because otherwise he would have gone to the Club World Cup instead of the England under-21 championships, a bit sort of Liam Delap style.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, 20 million's too cheap, but Atalanta sell Ademola Lookman for big money and they've got a bit more to spend, so I don't mind. Man City aren't going to sell on the cheap, they don't need to, but also they have got a lot of players all of a sudden in those positions. So
cut to 4 years later, Man City signing McAtee back for £95 million after he smashes it. Last one for me.
Yeah, and it's I struggle with the pronunciation of his name, but I'm just going Geordie Petrovic. So Bournemouth making a move to sign the 25-year-old keeper. He was on loan at Strasbourg last season under Liam Senior. So
player of the year, I think.
Yeah, and in the Chelsea stable, obviously. But again, be another one that Chelsea won't let go on the cheap. I mean, I think they were even talking 15-20 million pounds for one of their vast array of goalkeepers. But again, it'll be money through the door for Chelsea if that happens.
Decent move for Bournemouth as well. Kepa at Arsenal now.
Yeah, I think so. Bournemouth have got a lot of work to do, by the way. Got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, you're having them go down, aren't you?
Not quite yet. Not quite yet. But
you and Brentford.
Well, Semenya was the one that was the tipping point.
Great bit of business.
So they've done a bit of work there, definitely.
Absolutely.